Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hashtag Total Markout, the weekly wrestling show where usually me and Geek King take a look at the world of professional wrestling, see what's going on in the world of WWE, sometimes TNA, sometimes ROH. We bring you some of the wrestling news going around at the moment, and plus we answer your questions in Hashtag Fan Corner, and we look through some of the recommendations Geeks has for us in You Gotta Watch. Now, this week, Geek King is not here. He is currently engaging in the real world, dealing with some stuff. Let him be the guy that announces all that jazz the next time he's on the show. So, you just got me this week, and we are going to take a look at what's been happening in the world of WWE. So we're going to be looking at Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Total Divas. Plus, I'll be looking up some of the rumors going on, some of the things which have been pissing me off and want to talk about. So we're probably looking at a shorter show this week. However, let's get down to it. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Now, Monday Night Raw was obviously following hot the heels of Night of Champions, which saw, I believe it's called the Dusty Finish. We basically saw Daniel Bryan become the WWE Champion for a second time. This reign would turn out to be his longest WWE Championship reign, given that his last one lasted all of 5 minutes or something like that. Not to his discredit, of course. Big Daniel Bryan fan here. I would talk about Night of Champions, but to be honest with you, it was kind of a letdown, I feel. I wasn't a big fan of what happened at... I just wasn't a fan of the show. I think the commentary brought the show down a lot as well. I don't know what it was, but it just seemed like Lawler, Cole, and JBL were off their game that night. So let's just focus on Monday Night Raw. We kick off with Daniel Bryan coming down the ring, the champion triumphant. All the fans chanting, yes, 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 as he comes down with title in hand. He gets on the mic, and then Triple H comes out. And Triple H pretty much addresses the elephant in the room, which is the fast count that took place at Night of Champions. So he calls out the referee, Scott Armstrong. And Scott Armstrong comes down, and when asked for an explanation, at first he says, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. And then when Triple H keeps prying, he turns to Daniel Bryan and says, they've got us, Daniel. Scott Armstrong was then set out the ring to the back, and Triple H pretty much says that the WWE Championship is going to be held in abeyance, which means the WWE Championship is vacated and there is no WWE Champion. Daniel Bryan wasn't exactly too pleased by this turn of events, and when Triple H demanded he hand the WWE Championship over, otherwise he would take it from him, Daniel Bryan replied with, no. This prompted Randy Orton to come out. Triple H saying, Randy Orton, I've got this, do not worry. Turns to Daniel Bryan, tries to take the title off him. When Daniel Bryan refuses, he grabs the title, then turns around and Randy Orton makes a beating RKO. Triple H walks off with the championship. Now this would evolve later on in the night, when Randy Orton would approach Stephanie McMahon and Triple H backstage, demanding that they give him the title. When he starts screaming, ranting, and raving at Triple H, Stephanie McMahon got in the way and said, that is the CEO you're talking to. And pretty much asked, where's the Randy Orton of old? Where's the old Randy Orton that DDT'd her and put their family, on the shelf and all that jazz? And that they need to find that Randy Orton, because if that Randy Orton isn't here, then they need to look for a new face for the WWE. Well, how that would translate later on the night was when Randy Orton was set to face The Miz, who was in his hometown. His parents were at ringside, and before the match even started, Miz chilling out with his parents. Randy Orton attacks, decimates him, beating the living shit out of him in front of his parents, and then DDT him off the barricade in front of his folks. Triple H obviously getting what he wanted, the old Viper. This would continue over onto SmackDown, but more on that in a bit. Triple H, as I said, held the title in abeyance, meaning that the WWE Championship is vacated. There's no title. On a WWE.com exclusive interview with Michael Cole, Triple H announced that at WWE Battleground, it will be Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan for the vacated WWE Championship. The winner will be the brand new WWE Champion. So the question is, can Daniel Bryan get a third championship win, or will Randy Orton walk away with the new title, the new championship? Quite frankly, I think in the realms of logic, you're looking at Randy Orton picking up the WWE title. Because if they give it, I mean, they could theoretically give it to Daniel Bryan a third time and be a whole, it doesn't matter what we do, we just can't stop the motherfucker. The guy keeps winning the belt. But at the same time, you'll get a lot of people going, oh my god, he's already had 3 championships. Oh my god, blah, blah, blah. So really it comes down to which way you have it. By the way, if you hear that noise, that's just my phone. I'm getting a lot of messages right now. I would turn it off, but I'm expecting some important messages, so I apologize for that. Basically, you could also go with the easy route of Randy Orton winning the title and Randy Orton being this incredibly dangerous superstar. And I, for one, like the fact that they brought this Randy Orton back. I wasn't necessarily pining for this particular Randy Orton, but he's wanted to be a heel for a long time, and he plays it well because he's a cunt. So having him back in this role makes him a bigger threat. And you've got a champion. Sorry, not a champion. You've got a superstar, a heel, who can go so far, yet still remain within the age limit of the show. So, you've got this guy who can be straight up fucking evil whilst still being on a show that's age appropriate. So, I think that's clever. And I think no matter who you put the title on at Battleground, I'm going to be a happy guy. Because either it's going to be Daniel Bryan, who deserves the championship for all his hard work, is a great, could be a great champion, and someone who has earned my respect. Not that he should have to earn my respect, probably, but he's earned it. Or Randy Orton, who it makes perfect sense to put the title on him. He's a great villain, he's a good champion. Regardless of what people may say, he was a good champion, and because he's the guy you want to see beaten, but is generally dangerous. I think that's a problem people have when it comes to the wrestling business. I think, obviously, we all know the term smark. People who know the ins and outs of the business, or at least think they do, and their perception of wrestling is based purely around that. So they hate certain people being champion, people who are your wrestling typical champions. For example, someone like The Miz is a typical champion because it's a character. It's the guy you want to see lose the belt, but is somehow able to do so. JBL was the longest reigning WWE champion in SmackDown history because his gig was he always found a way to hold on to the belt. Your champions can't always be the likes of Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. You can't always have those kinds of characters being the champion. You have to vary it up. You have to have your monster champions, like Umaga being the Intercontinental Champion, The Big Show being ECW Champion, Kane being your World Heavyweight Champion. You need your cowardly champions, like JBL, when he was WWE Champion. The likes of early Randy Orton, when he was the Intercontinental Champion. You also need your tough, hard-hitting son of a bitch champions. Chris Benoit when he won the World Heavyweight. The likes of Triple H, WWE Champion. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then you need your wrestling talent. Superstars that can wrestle with the best of them. And again, Chris Benoit comes to mind. Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler. There are different kinds of champions that you need to make the wrestling business work. If we had the same kinds of people holding the championship all the time, Sami Zayn would be your current WWE champion, as El Generico. We'd have getting Delirious a long time ago to be World Heavyweight. I wouldn't mind seeing that one day. But what I'm saying is you can't have the same kind of champion all the time. The wrestling business has just evolved like that. You need your pricks, you need your heroes, you need your gimmicks, and that's just how wrestling works. Otherwise it becomes stale, stagnant, and you don't want to watch it anymore. You know what I mean? This isn't the UFC, this isn't MMA, this isn't football or whatever. It's all about entertainment. And that's what wrestling's always been about. And here's the thing that people forget. People like to talk about the good old days and all that jazz, and how when wrestling was a tough sport. Here's the thing. Wrestling has always been about entertainment. It's just that in the later years of the 20th century, it was made known that it was entertainment. Just because it's always been about, and yeah, obviously there was a time where we're not talking about Greco style, we're not talking about amateur wrestling or just professional wrestling has always been about entertainment. It's always been about the story. Just stories used to be simpler. Stories used to be more simple, and there was less known about the industry. But because we live in a generation of where we know a lot more about the wrestling business, storylines become more convoluted. They become more elaborate because of two things. One, because we know that it's entertainment, therefore we expect to be entertained. But two, because now they have the freedom to do so. When, in the older times, when people weren't really clued up that it wasn't real, or that the fact that it was scripted, you didn't have to do much. Because it was a tale of these two guys want to fight, one of them has a belt, the other one wants it. That was your story. You didn't need much. You to start a feud without a title, this guy wrongs this person, that guy wants revenge. And they just have it that. But because we now know, there is a higher level of standard and expectation when it comes to WWE stories, and I think WWE does a decent enough job. I don't think they do a great job all the time. TNA has this ability to do a good story wanted a blue fucking moon, and a lot of the time just fuck it up with Hulk Hogan. And the like, it's just, I think people seem to forget that the reason we have the storylines we have today, the reasons we have the stuff that's going on today, is because we know too fucking much about the business. You can't have just the straight up wrestling talent be your champions all the time. Because here's the thing, not every champion should be legitimate. Now, I know that sounds weird, but not every wrestling champion should be a legitimate champion. You need champions who got there because of their gimmick. Guys who got there because of lying, cheating, conniving, luck, whatever it is. You need those champions because they piss you off and you want to see them get dethroned, and you will pay fucking money to see it happen. People paid hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to see John Cena lose the WWE Championship to CM Punk. People paid good money to see The Miz lose the WWE Championship. People paid good money to see Alberto Del Rio lose the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. People will pay money to see the people they don't want to be champions lose the belts. The problem is when you give the belt to someone you know deserves it on wrestling ability alone, like Dolph Ziggler, it doesn't always work necessarily. So what do? You give the guy the belt, then you take it away to get the marks and the smarks alike to get pissed off, and then we'll pay money to see him get the belt back. That is what it's all about. It's all about getting people to get behind the ones they feel deserve the win. Daniel Bryan is the hottest thing in professional wrestling right now, at least in the Western world. Why? Because he deserves the title and we all want him to get the title. I would argue that right now he's bigger than CM Punk. Because CM Punk right now is doing a cool storyline, but Daniel Bryan is over like a motherfucker. So I think people who bitch and moan about oh my god, they gave the belt to this guy who can't even wrestle, blah, blah, blah. It's like, guys, the fact is, you need people. It's not about being the best wrestler and all the jazz all the time. It's about the story. The WWE Championship is about the face of the company. You can't have the face of the company without the story. You need that element to the wrestling profession. You need that. The characters, the gimmicks, the stories, in order to make that. So, yeah. So if anyone's bitching and moaning about the idea that Randy Orton may get the title at Battleground, I don't think you got a leg to stand on, really. But that's just my opinion, as a fellow Mark or Smark, whatever you want to call me. Getting back to Randy Orton, on SmackDown, he actually did a promo to continue this thing of his, where he basically explained that he wanted to thank Triple H and Stephanie for showing what he had become. And he decided that he was no longer going to do anything for anybody else. He was going to work solely for him, and that Battleground, he would become his WWE champion. I thought it was a relatively okay promo for Randy Orton. It established his character. Could have been better, but couldn't it always? Unless you're CM Punk, then usually it's damn near perfect, but, whatever. Also on Raw, Dolph Ziggler versus the US champion Dean Ambrose in a rematch, non-title rematch, as Justin Roberts made clear at the end of the match. Sorry, just knocking on the top of my Pepsi. Pouring myself a drink. Dolph Ziggler was able to pick up a clean win against the United States champion Dean Ambrose. Celebrated with the fans on the ringside. You would have thought you'd won the title, which is when Justin Roberts announced, but still United States champion Dean Ambrose, which I feel the only reason he did that was because people were worried that they would have thought, oh, well, he's won the title. Good match, but pretty much a replica of what happened at the pay-per-view. But oh well. So, moving on to another aspect of Daniel Bryan was put into a match against Roman Reigns, one half of the tag team champions. Believe in the Shield. He almost got the win via submission when Randy Orton came in and started to attack Daniel Bryan. Then the entire Shield started attacking Daniel Bryan, which caused a host of WWE superstars to rush out to the ring to the defense of Daniel Bryan, including the primetime players, the Usos, Zack Ryder, Justin Gabriel, all running out to the ring, Rob Van Dam, all to help Daniel Bryan. This went over onto SmackDown when Vicky Guerrero, who quite frankly needs to be taken off screen. I've always tried to defend Vicky Guerrero, but her performance on SmackDown was just terrible. And I mean this with all the respect in the world. Vicky Guerrero has done a good job as a heel in the past, but right now her current shtick just isn't working. The whole witch laughter into the microphone is beyond melodramatic. Her promos are cardboard. It's just, she says it as if reading lines, which I know she probably is in a way, but it's like she doesn't sound genuine. I could be unfair and compare her to past GMs, but in fact, she was never trained to do this. She was never trained. She was the wife of Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul. And WWE wanted to provide for her. And all the props in the world to WWE. I think Vicky Guerrero could be an asset to the WWE. I think what would be good for her is to take her off screen for a while and train her in some promo technique. Train her to, freshen up her skills, give her a bit of practice. Maybe send her down to NXT for a while to do the general manager job there. Say that she's looking after this business while Triple H does whatever on SmackDown, or just, whatever. It's just like, she needs to work on her skills if she's going to be a major character in this corporation thing. But yeah, that's just my opinion. But she basically announces that there's going to be a gauntlet match. The entire Shield, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose versus the superstars that helped Daniel Bryan on Raw, one at a time. The matches go all the way up to Rob Van Dam, who looks like he's about to get the win with the Frog Splash when Triple H comes out and stops the match. And he is pissed off. Triple H goes to the back to go to Vicky Guerrero and demands her what the fuck she was doing in this match in the first place, and tells her that he wants a match of the Usos and Daniel Bryan versus the Shield in the main event. He also apologizes to the likes of Zack Ryder and Justin Gabriel for them being in the match in the first place. Zack Ryder then pats him on the back and goes, "Yo, bro, we were looking for some competition." "Oh, Zachy boy, the Wyatts are calling to kick your ass all over the damn ring. You pissed off Trips by calling him a bro. You stupid ass, you are a dumb asshole. And so the Wyatts come down to that ring and kick your ass for the 1, 2, 3. 'Cause you're a douche who doesn't know when to shut his mouth. You moron, you got your ass handed tonight." I honestly do not know why I just did that. My apologies. Yeah, Zack Ryder basically was like, "Hey, we want a competition, bro," and pats Triple H on the back. So Triple H is like, "Well, you bro, I'll find some competition for you. Just get down the ring." And so with Justin Gabriel and Zack Ryder waiting for a tag team match, the Wyatt family come down. Yeah. I don't care if I've got the entire Navy fucking SEALs with me. If I see the Wyatts coming down, I'm fucking legging it. I just, no. But I basically, I'll be gone before they have a chance to remember my face. Because I don't want them fucking turning up wherever I am to destroy me. So, so they get destroyed. Another thing that Triple H does is he goes to Rob Van Dam, and he's like, who's in the medical room? And he goes, look, I apologize, dude. You were never meant to get put into that match. And just to let you know that at Battleground, it's going to be you versus Alberto Del Rio in a rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship. Which is grand. Awesome. I like seeing Rob Van Dam wrestle. I think he does a better job here than he does in TNA. I saw a shot at TNA. I just think he's got a better environment there. Alberto Del Rio then runs in and attacks, and leaves him pretty much beaten and broken. Which led Michael Cole to say, look, you can call me a conspiracy theorist, but don't you find it odd that Alberto Del Rio attacked him just shortly after Triple H said to him, that there's going to be a match? It's as if Alberto Del Rio knew that the match was going to be there. Normally, when it comes to this conspiracy storyline, I have been saying, yeah, Cole's got a very legitimate point. Except this one, my kind of issue with this particular point is, at the same time, if I had say I'm the World Heavyweight Champion, and I just beat Geek King to retain my title by, indiscreet means, by underhanded tactics, I know for a fact he's going to come after me at some point for my world title. So why not take him out of the competition? Beat the shit out of him. So, personally, I thought it would make sense for Alberto Del Rio to attack Rob Van Dam. So, I had that one I don't give to Cole, although I've been agreeing with him so far, which I know is a scary concept. So, yes, that's pretty much the whole... Oh, yeah. Dusty Rhodes. This is the bit I was going to talk about. Dusty Rhodes was on Raw to answer Stephanie McMahon's request at EPA because Stephanie McMahon said she has a business proposition for Dusty Rhodes. And Dusty was like, hey, I can talk business. Now, here's the thing. I was kind of behind on NXT, so I naturally was still thinking, oh, well, he's the general manager of NXT. Yeah, apparently he isn't. Apparently I've heard that JBL is the commissioner now. At least that's what my American friends have been saying on Twitter. I did not know this. I don't know if this is going to be announced next week or something, because you got to remember, obviously, the NXT tapings are completely beggared. Although, a quick shout out, I've been using WatchWrestling.net to catch up on wrestling. I sincerely recommend you check that channel, that website out, and I will leave it as a link in the description of this video. But yeah, Triple H. It's sorry, I'm coming out of break for that. But Dusty comes out and he basically talks about knowing the hardships of what Cody's going through. You know, oh baby, I tell you, I know what's up, but you can't pay those bills. You can't pay someone to come and mow the lawn. Wait, you can't pay someone to mow the lawn? Mow it yourself, you lazy bastard. But I get his point. You know, he was talking about the hardships and that all he wanted was Cody to have his job back. So Stephanie McMahon, easy fella. Stephanie McMahon comes down and basically says, we want to give Cody his job back. And Dusty goes, yeah, that's all I wanted. To which point she goes, oh, we could give it to Goldust. See, there's one job available and you have two sons. So who better to make a decision as to who gets the job than their father? Dusty says he's not going to make the decision. And basically, she's basically saying, so hang on, you would deny this opportunity to give one of your sons this job? And Dusty's response is along the lines of, when you get your beautiful daughters down to the breakfast table in the morning, do you say, you're my favourite, and send the others back to bed? Is that what you do with your daughters? And I know my impression is terrible, but, I'm pretty much high on caffeine right now, so woohoo! Oh, but I'm recording this at 6:20 in the evening. I have been drinking caffeine all fucking day. And basically, he tells Stephanie McMahon to go straight to hell. And Stephanie goes, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And then the Shield come out. The Shield are getting ready to destroy Dusty Rhodes, but she goes, whoa, hang on. I've got somebody that can even this up. Oh, Big Show, could you come out here, please? Now, Big Show comes out, and obviously he doesn't want to be out there. He doesn't know why he's there, but he's got a suspicion. So Big Show gets in the ring, and Stephanie McMahon says, well, you don't want to choose between your sons, so how about a different choice? Do you want to be decimated by the Shield, or do you want to be knocked out by the Big Show? Big Show is looking going, oh, Jesus Christ, no. And when Dusty Rhodes made a decision, Stephanie goes, all right then, Big Show, knock him out. To his credit, Big Show says no at first. And when Stephanie goes, all right, Shield, get him. Big Show goes, don't you dare touch him! Don't you dare! And you're like, oh, fuck yeah, Big Show, fight against the machine. But the Shield get chairs. And it's clear that Big Show's got a problem here. You got to remember that in the current storyline, he's broke. He's got a family to provide for. So, crying and realizing, and after hugging Dusty, he gets the fist ready and he knocks Dusty out, immediately grabbing him and hugging him and helping him to the floor gently. Stephanie pats him on the back, which saying, you did a good job. Shield leave, and the EMTs come out. And obviously, the EMTs then rush him into the ambulance. Big Show gets to the ambulance with them, and they all drive off. And the fans booing. And the fans, I hope the fans are booing what's happened, not the Big Show. Here's my opinion on that, because I know you're all interested in my opinion and not thinking, Jesus Christ, where's Geek King? He's the star of the show. But Big Show is doing the right thing. I don't like it. You don't like it. But the thing is, what else is he meant to do? I can tell you now, if Geek King and I were in that situation, and Geek King was told either knock me out or you're fired, and then he would be able to provide for his family, I'd just be there going, dude, knock me out. I would want him to knock me out, but I would understand. You know, it's ironically reality. It's just you have to do what you have to do. You know, if somebody told me if I was in this job and someone told me either, knock this guy out, otherwise you'll be able to provide for your family. My family comes first before any fucking integrity I've got. I can assure you of that. I would go to hell if it meant protecting my family. So I'm kind of a Big Show side. I'm just waiting for what would be awesome, this would be fantastic, is if he could get a contract, a big contract, through other means. Whether it's with the WWE, or whether it's with a manager, or somebody else it would be really awesome. What I've always wanted to see is someone from the board of directors. The board of directors of this mythical group, which have only been seen a few times, and none of them named or anything like that. It would be fucking brilliant if Big Show could go to the board of directors and say, look, I want a new contract. I don't like what's going on. I feel like I'm being used, and, this is getting out of hand. Help me out here. And I bet you the board of directors would be like, yes, we're all going to vote, and we believe he deserves a new contract. That would be a genius storyline, because then it shows that there is another power that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon have to contend with. And you got to remember, it's public knowledge that Stephanie McMahon has been selling shares like the fucking Titanic sinking here. The fact is, it's public knowledge, it's researchable, it's out there, we know she's been selling thousands of shares in the WWE. So, what better way? You could easily turn around and say, somebody bought those shares and, it would be a genius thing to do, I reckon. To have the board of directors, or to have a new authority figure turn around and not necessarily be above them, but definitely be equal, or have the ability to veto or to stop them in certain degrees, would be brilliant. To have someone who can be in charge of that, I think would be an interesting situation. Now, obviously, I'm not necessarily told an executive shareholder like the Mick Foley character in TNA, or the kind of Eric Bischoff storyline that they did with TNA, where he kind of overruled them. Neither are talking about network executive, but someone's going to be buying those shares, and that's got to have an impact on the state of things. It would be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. I would love to see a board of directors angle. Yeah. So, yes. Big Show is getting a lot of heat from the Reynolds family and storyline, where they've tweeted basically saying, Cody definitely isn't happy, and there's a general feeling that he should have, basically said, fuck my job, and then walked away. Here's the problem, guys. Speaking to this story, it's, what else do you expect him to do? What else do you expect the guy to do? His job is constantly on the line, and he has a family to provide for. The storyline goes that he's broke. Yes, I know, Shawn Michaels and JBL. Storylines are repeated all the time. What do you expect the guy to fucking do? That's ridiculous. Quick bit of news there. Obviously, the Usos were able to defeat the Tons of Funk and the Real Americans to become the new number one contenders of the WWE Tag Team Championships. I believe that match is taking place at Battleground. So, on to the last storyline I want to talk about, Paul Heyman. Now, if you saw Night of Champions, you'll have known that CM Punk was pinned by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman beat the best in the world. Why? Or rather, how? Because Ryback speared the motherfucker through a table. I suppose you'd call it a spine buster, but I call it a spear. And dragged Paul Heyman over on top of CM Punk. CM Punk's back is injured, by the way. Not sure when we'll be seeing him again. Maybe next week, whatever. But Paul Heyman comes out and basically does the usual heel thing of bragging that the history books will forever give testimony to the fact in history that when Paul Heyman and CM Punk met face to face in the ring, the winner was Paul Heyman and the loser was CM Punk. And he said that he wished he could have been the genius behind it all. But his life was in the hands of Ryback. Ryback takes the mic and he says that if there's one thing he doesn't like, it's a bully. Yeah, and a slim fast from what I hear. But the guy eats more shit and has more muscles than fucking Heracles, so what the fuck am I going to argue with? He hates bullies, and that he will defend Paul Heyman, and he kneels down to get eye level with Paul Heyman and says, Paul, you never have to worry again, because as long as I'm around, CM Punk will never hurt you. And then Paul Heyman gives him a kiss on the cheek. Oh. So, yes, it looks like we're building up to a Ryback CM Punk feud, and the word on the street is that WWE are confident that this version of the storyline will not fail, air quotes, as it did the last time they tried it. Little bit of news from other wrestling organization. I'm just going to go to I'll talk a little bit about NXT and TNA. NXT, the last episode that was aired on the Watch Wrestling Net. Caffeine high. WatchWrestling.net. It was this week's NXT that saw in its opening match Sami Zayn go one-on-one with Kurt Hawkins. Decent enough match, although I felt it went a little bit long. But it saw Sami Zayn picking up the win in impressive fashion after an out-of-nowhere big boots / Yakuza kick, I suppose, followed by the top rope tornado DDT. It also showed that Bo Dallas interviewed, asking if he felt that Sami Zayn deserved a title shot now. He said, Sami Zayn got a great win over Kurt Hawkins, but who's Kurt Hawkins beat recently? In that Sami Zayn needs to beat someone of a higher establishment and someone of a higher status. Not for Bo Dallas, but for Sami Zayn. And at the end of the day, here's Bo Dallas to decide who gets a title shot. However, he has an idea that he thinks would be a very fair idea in deciding who gets the next shot of Bo Dallas' title. But he couldn't talk about it now because he had to go to a ribbon cutting over the responsibility of being a champion. Is it possible that I could hate this guy more than Justin Bieber? Is it really? I think he's somewhere between One Direction and Justin Bieber, something like that. Yes. So NXT then saw a huge main event. It was an 8-man tag. It was the Ascension, Tyler Breeze, and Leo Kruger versus Xavier Woods, the NXT Tag Team Champions, which is Corey Breeze and Adrian Neville, and the love child of Captain Jack Sparrow and Dude Love. Impressive match. Loved it. Ended with Adrian Neville getting the win over Tyler Breeze with the basically with the, I don't even know what to call it because it's more than a move. It's just basically fucking physics. But yes, there was also a match with Aiden English, I believe is his name. The guy sang a song all the way down to the ring. He sang a fucking song all the way down the ring with piano accompaniment. Yeah. Okay, talking about some TNA stuff. AJ Styles and Dixie Carter had their confrontation in the ring where AJ Styles was talking about how Dixie Carter has pretty much ruined TNA. Although, could have also thrown Hulk Hogan in there probably, but talk about how thanks to Dixie Carter, we don't have Petey Williams, Low Key, Jerry Lynn anymore, and that she's managed to pick up one by one. But the problem was she left one of the old crew standing, and that was AJ Styles, who would go to Bound for Glory and become the new TNA Impact World Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. Dixie Carter turned heel. I know what you're thinking. Didn't she already when she did that whole either with me or against me speech? But yes, Dixie Carter turned heel by pretty much saying that without her, AJ Styles wouldn't exist. The whole Phenomenal One was simply a marketing gimmick created by her, and that, AJ Styles has never been important to TNA. Whilst normally a microphone is kryptonite to AJ Styles, I kind of felt the promo worked for him. I kind of felt it worked. Dixie Carter's heel turn. She still can't act. Just saying. So that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about there. Obviously, with Geek not being here, I am not that well caught up with Ring of Honor. I'm going to start trying to keep more up to date, seeing as I'm probably going to be doing the show on my own quite a bit over the next few months until we can get a different format kind of sorted. So let me talk to you about some of the things in wrestling which are pissing me off at the moment. And that is, number one, a big problem I'm having right now is the whole Jim Ross thing. Jim Ross has retired from the world of professional wrestling. He's retired as the announcer and as the backstage worker to move on to more important things. But because it's the wrestling industry, he couldn't have just retired. He must have been fired. There have been some dirt sheets. One in particular, eWrestling News, has been pushing this hardcore. The idea that this is a conspiracy of a deal, and that Jim Ross was actually fired by Triple H, and due to the WWE 2K14 press conference where he was unable to keep Ric Flair under control, and of course the rumors that Jim Ross was drunk. The fact is, this is all pretty much bullshit. The rumor was actually started, allegedly, by the insider guy, the guy behind the predictions of the pay-per-view results. But irrespective, people are obsessed with conspiracies and all this stuff. Look, right, Bret Hart got screwed in fucking Montreal. We get it. Over. Done with. Move on. Not everything is a fucking conspiracy. Jim Ross has worked his arse off for years and years and years. He was going to retire at some point. He's not Ric Flair that, wants to die in the ring. He's not fucking, he's not the same kind of guy that is going to keep doing the same thing until he's dead. It was almost obvious that at some point in life, he was going to retire from the wrestling business. And now that he's retired, everyone's screaming that he was fired. People sometimes retire. Do you know that? Sometimes, guys, sometimes things are as they are. I want to introduce you guys to a concept. It's called Occam's Razor. Occam's Razor simply states that sometimes the most simplest solution, or the simplest answer, or the most obvious, is the correct one. Not everything is convoluted, complicated, and suspicious. Sometimes things are as they are. To use an old phrase, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. The guy's done. He wants to focus on other things. So that's what he's doing. And if you're thinking, they're always fine. Think about this. Could you stomach working for the McMahons all the time? Could you stomach having to do that day after day after day? All the traveling, all the moving around, all the never standing still, all the demands that are made on you. It's a stressful gig, So at the end of the day, I could understand he wants to retire. But people are so desperate for a story. Here's your story. Veteran of the wrestling business retires. I mean, it's such a big thing that someone so beloved and someone so ingrained in the history of professional wrestling, not just WWE, but professional wrestling, has retired. And everybody wants to make a fucking circus of it because, it would be far more interesting if he was fired. It's just absolutely unbelievably stupid. It boggles the mind that people aren't content with the story of a wrestling legend retiring, that they have to make it more than it is. They have to sensationalize it. Because it'll sell more than simply Jim Ross retires. It's fucking disgraceful, man. And honestly, I do not think Jim Ross is the kind of guy that would turn around and be quiet about the idea of being fired. I'm pretty certain if that guy was fired, he'd fucking tell you, because we all know. Because here's the thing. If you could prove without a shadow of a doubt that it wasn't his Bell's palsy, but rather he was drunk as a motherfucker at the 2K14 press conference, I wouldn't give a shit. My response would be, of course he's drunk. Look at the shit he's dealing with. He's got Ric Flair trying to pretty much take over the fucking show. He's got this new regime, breathing down his fucking neck about all this stuff. I wouldn't care. I would probably pour him the next beer. Just ridiculous, man. So yes, moving on from that. Sonny has once again been in the dirt sheets, and Sonny, you need to chill, alright? You need to chill. Here's the thing. She made a Facebook post about what her kind of man is. She also made a little post. So she made a post about getting mugged or something. And she's gone off on a tirade against the dirt sheets, saying, fucking dirt sheets, basically, they'll do a massive story about me making a post about my type of guy, but won't do anything when I'm mugged. Well, the problem is she's working the dirt sheets. She's trying to get more attention by working them. And I always feel like that's a bad idea. If you want to get attention, you're not going to get positive attention by doing that. Not unless you do it smartly. Honestly, at this point, I'm just thinking, Sonny, there's other things you could do. There's other stuff you can do. If I was Sonny at this point, I would be going to the WWE. I'd be going, look, is there any way I can enroll in the Performance Center? Is there any way that I can work out, work hard, and maybe become some kind of spokesperson? Pick up a cause and become a spokesperson for it. So, it's like people who are no longer wrestling and are looking for attention, do it positively, just, yeah, boy. Last thing I'm going to talk about on this episode. I've been doing DDP yoga for quite a while now. And despite an accident I had a few weeks back, which have knocked me back down, I can vouch for DDP yoga and say this stuff is really working for me. I've been injured since I was 12 years old. And I've always had issues with my back. And I can tell you that DDP yoga has helped me tremendously. You would not believe how awesome it has worked for me. So, yeah, if you guys have a chance to pick up the DDP Yoga DVDs, or you can get them in any way, shape, or form you can get them, do it, and I assure you it will be of a great benefit to you, because it has helped me tremendously, and I think you guys, if it helped me, it's going to help you guys. Because I'm a broken piece of shit. So if it's going to help a broken piece of shit out, it's going to help some healthy people out there. It's going to help a lot of people out there. You lose weight, you'll get more flexible, you'll feel alive, man. There's a lot of different programs, including around about, I'd say, a 10 to 15 minute wake up program. So that is a little quick program to help you wake up on a morning, get you ready for the day, and it really does help. I do it every morning before I head out to do my work. So I can't recommend that enough. But yes, that's going to be it for this hectic return episode of Total Markout. If you're wondering why there's been such a gap, well, that gap is because of YouTube and Google Plus being dickheads. However, if you want to learn more about that, I would suggest heading over to #Shout, where I talk about the entire thing. #Shout is, of course, a weekly debate/discussion show where we talk about everything and everything that's on our minds. And in that show, I talk about what has been holding up episodes, because it's also held up Shout. So go on over there. I'll leave a link in the description of the video so you can check that out and get a better explanation, so I don't have to repeat it here. But as I said, that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in to #Total Markout. We hope that next week we'll be able to get Geek King back on the show to give us his "You Gotta Watch," as well as answer your questions in #Fan Corner. Remember to send us a question. Go to totalmarkout.com/ask to send us a question. Anonymous questions are, of course, welcome. Anyway, I'm CJ Jones, Say 1 3. Thank you for tuning in to this show. Marks, out.